Hi, and welcome back to another lesson of the basic JavaScript for beginners course. In today's lesson, we are going to see looping statements in JavaScript. So let's get into it. First, what are looping statements in programming? Looping statements allow us to execute a block of statements repeatedly until a particular condition is met. In JavaScript, there are 5 main looping statements, which are the for loop, the for in loop, the for of loop, the while loop, and finally the do while loop. So this lesson is going to be divided into 2 separate videos. In this actual video, we're going to deal just with the 3 for loops mentioned earlier and let the rest of the looping statement for the next episode. Now let's jump into the code editor and see all of that in practice. So first let's see the for loop, which is the most basic form of looping in JavaScript. And to better understand the concept of iteration and looping in programming in general, so it would be better if we start with a problem to illustrate this. So the problem is, let's say that we've been told to print the numbers from 1 to 10 to the console. So one basic solution would be to console log each number in one line in this way. If we run this code, we will obviously get the numbers from 1 to 10 printed to the console. But the issue with this solution, even though it's correct, is that we as developers, we are meant to provide a concise and readable code for human beings. And the second point is that we have to do our best to ship a code that is optimized and performant for compilers, that the compilers can understand and run our codes in a better way. So one way to enhance this solution would be by using a looping statement. And the looping statement that we are going to use in our example here is going to be the for loop. So first let's comment out this block of code. Then the for loop consists of 3 expressions and a block of statements. Now for the expression, the first expression is going to hold our counter or the initialization of our counter. The second expression is going to hold the condition that is going to be evaluated at the beginning of each iteration. And the last expression is going to be evaluated at the end of each iteration. And the evaluation or the result is going to be used to evaluate the condition. So if the condition resolves or evaluates to true, then this block of statement is going to be executed. If not, we are going to break out of the for loop and continue executing our program. Now if we want to replicate our last example or our last solution, so first let's start by declaring our counter, which is going to be C counter, and initializing it by the value 1. Then for the condition, we are going to check if the counter is less or equal to 10. For the expression that is going to be used to evaluate this condition, we are going just to increment C by 1 at each iteration. Now this makes sense because our goal here is to print the numbers from 1 to 10. So the block of statement is going to be console log the counter C. So the counter C is going to be incremented at each iteration by 1. Now if we save, then refresh the page, we are having the number from 1 to 10. And if you inspect the line number that is evaluating each line, you are going to see that is the line 17, which is in this case our block of statement in the for loop. Basically, this is it for the for looping. As you can see, we are having a more concise way of writing the last solution and more readable code. Now let's see the for in loop. So the for in loop is another kind of the for loop that we have seen recently, but with a special use case. The for in loop can be used only with objects, and it's used to iterate over all the properties of an object. To better illustrate this, let's have this example. Let's say that here we are declaring an object, a variable object, which holds this object, and this object has three properties, which are the A and B and C, and each one of them holds a value. Now we want to iterate over these properties and print the property and the value in this form. So what we have to do is using the for in loop. So where we declare a variable at the beginning, which is going to be called property, and will hold one property at each iteration. Then add the keyword in the object that we want to iterate. Then we will open our block statements and add into it the statements that we want to execute. In this case, we want to console log the property name. Then we are going to concatenate with the equal sign. Then print the value of this property. Now to access the value, we know that we can use the brackets and put the name of the property here. Because the variable property holds the name, one of the properties of our object. If we save, then console log the result, we have got an error here. So property is not defined. It's a typo. It's a typo issue. Okay, now if we save, then refresh again, as you can see, guys, we are having the value of each property in the object. This is it for the for in loop, which is really useful whenever we want to iterate over the object. Now the final type of for loop that we are going to see is the for of loop. The for of loop are often used with the iterable objects, and we mean by iterable objects special objects that are implementing a specific method that allows them to be iterable. Examples of this kind of object can be found in JavaScript. They are built-in data structures, like for example array, strings, map also, and so on. Now to see how to use the for of loop, let's have this example. For example, we have a string, which is an object and which is an iterable object in JavaScript, which holds the value easy tuts, which is the name of our channel. Now if we want to print each character of this string on the console, what we have to do is just to use the for of loop. The for of loop is going to hold at the first a variable, which is going to be our character, then of the string. Now we are going to visit each character of the string, then the block of statement that we are going to execute when visiting each character of the string. In this case, we are going to console log the character. If we save, then refresh the page, as you can see, we are having E 2 times, then Z, then I, then the rest of the string, or the rest of the characters in the string. So basically this is how we use the for of loop, and it's often used with arrays and string, in general iterable objects. Alright, that's going to be the end of this video about the first part of looping statements. In the next video we are going to learn about the rest of them. Hopefully, I hope that you have learned something new today. Don't forget to subscribe, like and share this video. Thanks for watching and see you later. Peace.